The American alligator. If we talk about predators, definitely we'll put it in the forefront. As with one bite capable of swallowing and digesting its prey without even having time for that prey to defend itself. It is the American alligator, which is scientifically referred to as the Mississippi crocodile. One of the largest and fiercest crocodiles in the world lives on the coasts of Florida and some areas of South America, in ponds, rivers, and lakes. Now some details about its life cycle. The reproductive stage briefly. The mating phase of the American alligator begins in June of each year, as the male alligator in this month fertilizes several females. As for the female alligator, it mates with only one male in the season. And after the role of the male alligator ends, the role of the female begins, where she makes a nest of mud, plants, and sticks, and then lays about 10 to 15 eggs in that at a time. As for the factors that control and determine the sex of the fetus, researchers explain that when the temperature of the nest is less than 28 degrees Celsius, it produces males. But when the temperature of the nest increases to 33 degrees, it produces females. But if it reaches a temperature of 31 degrees Celsius, the offspring will be a mixture of males and females. The prenatal stage. The females remain near the nest where the eggs hatch. The eggs are generally the size of a goose egg, averaging 4 centimeters in length and 17.78 centimeters in diameter, and are white and transparent. The eggs hatch at about 65 to 70 days. When the hatching time comes, the young begin to chirp even before they get out of the egg, but this sound is a signal to the mother that it is time to get out and leave the nest. If the egg does not hatch correctly, the female breaks the egg with her huge jaw gently to help her young with hatching. The childbirth stage. When the young start hatching, their calls can sometimes be heard, or in a more accurate sense, they're crying. And immediately before hatching begins, the mother quickly takes them out of the water in her mouth, as is known about some other alligator types. As for their morphological traits at this stage, they are small replicas of adults, with a series of yellow bands around their bodies that act as camouflage. The small American alligator eats small fish, frogs, crayfish, and insects. The newborn are about 6 to 8 inches, 15 to 20 centimeters long, and are very vulnerable. Their mother protects them from predators, which include raccoons, bobcats, and even other crocodiles. Young alligators are yellow with a darker marking on the body and the tail. The protective plates on their backs are not the same, and they all have completely similar noses, with a clear protrusion between them in the front of the eyes. The breastfeeding stage. During the first few days after hatching, the alligator uses unabsorbed egg yolk inside its stomach as food, and a scar may appear on its lower side where the membranes of the egg were attached. At that stage, its length is about 20.3 centimeters, and the color of the young crocodile turns white while it hatches, and then develops its color to become dark green to brown. The young crocodile stays with its mother for up to 2 years. After that, they are able to manage their own affairs. Their sexual maturity is not measured by years, but the puberty stage begins when it reaches a length of 1.83 meters. Females usually take 10 to 20 years to reach this length, while males take about 10 to 18 years. Sexual maturity age is influenced by growth factors, such as habitat, food availability, and geographic range. The prepubertal stage. When the length of the small alligator reaches 0.9 meters, Then it can check the external genitalia to determine its gender according to age. Usually, the largest crocodile refers to a male and the smaller crocodile to a female. The adulthood stage. The average length of an adult male American alligator may reach about 3.4 meters, and its weight may reach about 360 kilograms. As for the female crocodile, its average length may reach 2.6 meters and weigh 91 kilograms. As for the morphological characteristics of the adult American crocodile, the shape of their teeth and jaw shape also changes noticeably in the adulthood phase. Their small teeth, which are similar to a needle in childhood, become more powerful as the teeth at that stage are able to catch prey, but they cannot tear or chew meat, like the teeth of some other predators such as dogs that rely on the maw instead of chewing their food. The American alligator is able to bite through the turtle shell or the bone of a medium-sized mammal, and the upper jaw's edges cover the lower teeth that are proportional to the cavities of the jaws. In addition, the American adult alligator was classified as the strongest bite measured in laboratories for any live animal, and no significant difference was observed between the strength of the American male and female alligator bite of the same size. The narrow nose becomes wider, and there are crocodiles of this type that have color spots and some lines and stripes, and the eyes are distinguished by a silvery gray pupil. As for the diet and the change in the type of prey that they feed on, after the crocodile was feeding or focusing on small prey such as fish and insects, in adulthood it will focus on larger prey such as turtles, birds, and other large vertebrates. The American alligator habitats have been found, and most of the places where it is found are in parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and in the wild in the southeastern United States. And crocodiles naturally extended their range to Tennessee via inland waterways. In addition, during the summer, the males prefer open water while the females remain in the swamps to build their nests and lay their eggs. Fish and other aquatic prey taken in the water or at the water's edge are considered the most of the American alligator's diet and can be eaten at any time of the day or night. The American alligator is a top predator and consumes fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Hatchlings mostly feed on invertebrates. They play an important role as ecosystem engineers in wetland ecosystems by creating crocodile holes, which provide wet and dry habitats for other organisms throughout the year, particularly during the breeding season. The male American alligator uses infrared to attract females at the beginning of the mating season. The lifespan. The average lifespan of crocodiles may reach about 20 to 30. The average lifespan of crocodiles may reach about 20 to 30 years in the wild. While they can live in captivity for about 50 years, the longest recorded life for a crocodile living in the wild was 56 years. And the longest life recorded in captivity was 73 years. The extinction. The American alligators were hunted by humans in the 19th century until the middle of the 20th century in an unsustainable manner. It threatened them with extinction, which also led to their depletion in many areas in which they were located, in addition to the loss of habitat in southeast Florida as a main reason for the decline in the number of the American alligators. According to the latest statistics, the remaining number of this type of crocodile is 2,000 in the United States, but there are about 20,000 crocodiles in the whole world. Organizations' efforts to encounter extinction. In 1976, the American alligator was listed as an endangered species as it was believed that it would become extinct from a large part of the ecological range in which it was located. So the Fish and Wildlife Service in the United States and states' wildlife agencies in the South also contributed to the recovery of the American alligator in several areas where it had been depleted. And then the countries monitored the American alligator populations to ensure their continued growth and the completion of actual recovery process. In 1987, the Fish and Wildlife Service removed the American alligator from the endangered species list. Thus, we have gotten to know that wild monster predator, the American alligator, with the strongest bite ever. And despite that strength, the females of this species were distinguished by their tenderness to their young, despite their predatory strength.